Alright, here's part 3, which is mostly Prima Game guides. I apologize for the shutter sounds, but it's really annoying, but I can't figure out how to shut it off, so you're just gonna have to deal with me for this time while I do this. Oh, it makes that... You'll hear it. But, okay. So let's go on with this. Ooh, okay. Black and white, too. I remember buying the original black and white and going, what am I supposed to do? Because it was kind of like Populous, but not very focused. Because they decided, hey, let's combine, God Sim with Tamagotchi, which doesn't work particularly well if you can't tell exactly what your big monster is thinking. Now, what happened basically is that they turned it into Populous. And this is black and white too, so it's pretty good. You get a mix of the city management, and you also get to kind of train this, but it's really obvious. Alright, now moving on to shelf number 2. Let's see what we got here. Alright. So, here are some inserts for future press guide. Soul Calibur 5? Yeah, we'll get there. And the Nintendo Electronic Gaming Monthly. Obviously, we've got say Nintendo Power. Limited edition cover, which is Yoshitaka Amano art. I think it's exclusive to this, if I'm not mistaken. Zoom out a little more. Yeah, looks pretty awesome. I'm gonna have to frame this at some point. I've just been lazy. Wow, this magazine cover is really old. September 2001. Alright, and moving on to shelf 2. What do we got here? We got Doom 3. I don't know. I don't really like Doom 3. I like Doom 1. Mortal Kombat Armageddon. I don't know why I have this game. You know what? I actually really like the strange Mortal Kombats that came out in the PS2, Xbox, GameCube era. I know a lot of people think they're kind of dumb. I mean, they're great single-player games. They might not be great competitively, but, there's still a lot of fun as single-player experiences. These are some fun challenges. Oh, this Street Fighter 4 guide, which looks incredibly pretty, but doesn't offer a lot of substance, and it's a waste of $15. I bought into the Street Fighter hype. Time Splitters. Future Perfect. I don't actually own this. This is one of those free guides I got. I would really like to own it. I know Free Radical is made up of employees that make GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. So that's why those games are more arcadey than a lot of the first-person shooters that started coming out at that time. So, WCW NWO World Tour. It was a good game before all the other Aki, Ukes kind of wrestling games came out. Still pretty good. I don't own it, but I do remember being obsessed with WCW back then. Giant Citizen Kabuto. This is for the PS2 version of the game, which is, it's not that great. It's kind of a bad port. But, I own it for some reason. You can buy it in Good Old Games. That's where you'd probably want to buy it anyway. It's a strange mix of a shoot-'em-up, a giant monster movement simulator, and real-time strategy. It's a really strange game. No wonder it didn't sell that well. Still really good, though. Devil May Cry Versus Books. I only own the Versus Books, but, Devil May Cry is an excellent game. I don't really have to say anything about that. Gran Turismo 3, A-Spec. After 2, number 3 was kind of a disappointment. Oh, these are Versus Books. Okay. I don't know why it's organized that way. I think it must be the consistency in the binding appearance, and these are just inconsistent. Oh well, I guess I can't figure out my thought process. The Shenmue guide. Now, you kind of needed one if you want to actually finish this game without just spinning forever. It was the first game of its type. We can forgive a lot for that. Yu Suzuki, you made some pretty good games. You still do. Ivy the Kiwi? That's a really good game. You should try that out. Brigandine, The Legend of Forcina. I remember getting this for Christmas and not really playing it. It's an Atlas strategy RPG. Sort of in a similar vein to Ogre Battle. The graphics are really outdated now, but, I mean, what can you do? Buck Bumble. I remember wanting this so much. Stupid bee with machine guns. I don't know why. And it was on the N64 too, so a flying game, you'd think it'd be good after Star Fox, but you know what? Fog. Lots and lots of fog. That was the 32-bit and 64-bit era for you. Crash Bandicoot Warped. Another game you don't really need a guide for that much. But you know what? I'm good with that. Alright. Crash Team Racing. I knew I had this guide somewhere. I don't seem to own Crash Bandicoot 3 or this anymore, but Crash Team Racing was a pretty good Mario Kart clone. I would say the closest thing to it now would probably be the Sega All-Stars Racing that came out recently. That's made by Sumo Digital, which did the ports for Outrun, so it's very arcadey. Daikatana, what the heck is this doing here? Shameful, Zach. Shameful. Why did you buy Daikatana? I don't even know. I didn't know anything about PC games. Forgive me. Def Jam Vendetta. This was free and or cheap. Can't remember. I might still want a copy of it. I remember liking the sequel, Fight for New York, better. I don't know anything about those people, though, when I was playing it, so that was interesting. Digimon. I was really into Digimon at one point, and for whatever reason, I decided, hey, I want the Digimon game. Well, you know what? Digimon game is not that great. It's a giant Tamagotchi simulator combined with combat that makes no sense. And this guide is proof of my wasted $55, Game Plus Player's Guide. Because PS1 games cost about $40 back then. Oh, Zach. DOA 2, Hardcore. Well, Dead or Alive 2, I think I bought it for the Dreamcast? So, the guide ended up being about the same, so. I like Dead or Alive for being fast-paced, but not so much after it becomes a game of just countering the other person over and over again. Not so much the fighting game of choice for my household. Fable, Lost Chapters. I like the original Fable. I never really had any incentive to play any of the other ones. It's okay. I really didn't feel like I was making any decisions, so maybe that's why. Ooh, Grandia. Yeah, Grandia. It is a 16-bit RPG in a 32-bit RPG's body. It's just a sequence of random battles, but the battle system's really cool. So, it's turn-based, but it also shows the positioning of your characters on the field and stuff. So, it's actually pretty cool. I'm pretty sure you can buy it on PSN. That'd be worth it. Ooh, Jak and Daxter. Well, if you think about it, it came out like a year before Mario Sunshine, so none of us knew any better. I don't really like Jak and Daxter, let me be honest. I think I didn't even finish this. I just, it still has that Crash Bandicoot sensibility to it. I really never loved Crash Bandicoot. It was just kind of an alternative. Ooh, Kessen. Kessen 2. So, Kessen 1 was in Japan, and Kessen 2 was in China? I don't know why. Romance of the Three Kingdoms is more Koei's China series, so I don't know why they decided to mix it up. I never really played it that much, so couldn't really tell you. Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle-earth. This is a PC-only game. It's kind of a dumbed-down real-time strategy game, but you know what? It's based on the movie. I really like the movies, so that's all I have to say about that. Maximo. Ghost to Glory. I don't know why people didn't like this game. It's probably because it plays like Ghouls and Ghosts, or any derivatives thereof. But, you know what? It's a really good game. It just requires a lot of patience and a lot of dealing with unfair mechanics that punish you for being bad at it. So, it kind of forces you to get good, and that's why you play it. It's got really precise jumping controls, too. I really like that. The movies. This is another Lionhead Studios game, I think. Yeah, that's a Peter Molyneux thing. Yeah, it's a movie place simulator. It's another simulator, kind of like Theme Hospital, Theme Park, etc., etc. Onimusha. I picked this up at a dollar store. I was trying to play Genma Onimusha. I think I wrote about it like a year ago. Didn't finish it. Tank controls kind of got on my nerves after a while. Still fun. Ooh, what's this? Samurai Warriors. Oh, hey. Stay. Samurai Warriors. Dynasty Warriors in Japan. Koei ended up doing that a lot, didn't they? That's early 2000s, Koei. Oh, Koei. Even your Dynasty Warriors fixation. Star Ocean, the second story. I'm pretty sure this is a rare guide. It's a really good one, too. Yeah, Prima made good guides at some point. Believe me. Ooh, yeah, well, they made this guide. Soul Calibur, yes. I would imagine this is the favorite series for fighting games. I think it's just because the ease of use of the controls made it so you were thinking about what you were going to do next rather than, how do I perform this correctly, which Street Fighter tends to be often. Well, of course, there's a case to be made that execution is part of the strategy, but you know what? When you just want to pick up and play something and actually have strategy right away, this is probably a good choice. I'm not sure if they ever surpassed the second game, but what can you do? Now, here's a game I've lost, but I own the guide for. Suikoden 2. Not sure what happened to the game. I did not trade it in, I know that for sure. But I played through it, love this game. Not sure why I was intrigued by it, but I picked it up anyway for $30, and yeah, it's really amazing. Somehow it hasn't been re-released yet. What a shame. Well, it has in Japan, but, you know, can't read Japanese, so. Super Smash Bros. Melee. I don't know if Nintendo ever made an official guide, so I made sure I picked up a guide. Didn't matter what it was. I have weird compulsions. Ooh, yeah, Tekken Tag Tournament. I had a lot of fun with this. So Namco makes 2 fighting games, right? I like Tekken. I don't think I like Tekken as much as Soul Calibur. It's a little more technical. Probably has more depth, but I don't know. The Tekken characters and the universe was just really weird. Especially when you had a kangaroo with boxing gloves. But you know what? That Japanese absurdity is cool. And got possessed by the devil and Heihachi, so. And a bear. I'm really making a good case for why you shouldn't play Tekken, am I? Oh, Tomorrow Never Dies, 007. Less said about that, the better. Yes, you can see I have equally good games and equally crappy games in this setup. Valkyrie Profile Guide. This is a really good guide. But you know what? The Ready Games one is just as good for the re-release on the PSP, so honestly, it's not a bad alternative, and you don't want to be paying whatever price they're charging for this thing. Yeah, Valkyrie Profile. Thumbs up. Star Ocean 2? Thumbs up. I like Tri-Ace. What can I say? Ugh, okay, I picked this up at a dollar store, I think. Virtua Fighter 4. Everyone says Virtua Fighter is great. I don't know, I just can't get into it. Maybe it's just that it requires so much practice, and there's really not much competition except online, and then online you probably get crushed by people who really like the game, so it's a vicious cycle. Oh, this is one of those weird ones. Wrath Unleashed. This is a LucasArts published game. It plays a little bit like a hex-based strategy game with fighting game elements in the middle. It sounds good. It's kind of mediocre, but you know what? It's one of those nostalgia games. I still like it. Plus the whole soundtrack sounds like Wagner is just composing more and more music even though he's already been dead for years. Alright. WrestleMania X8. It's a bad wrestling game. I wasn't into wrestling at a time, as you can tell. I enjoyed it from time to time, but nowadays it's like, oh, well, there's the Prima Zelda guide. I've already talked too much about Zelda, so I'm just going to put this away. Okay, now, when we had that Xbox fever, you know, all that stuff, Prima Games was like, yeah, well, we're gonna make our guides green for some reason. Because Xbox, yeah. And, yeah, so they did. Not that many of the games exclusive to the system were actually great, but, yeah. Like, Kakuto Chojin, for example. It's a bad game. You should have expected that the people who made Guys would also make another bad game, but yeah. And let's see. MechAssault. MechAssault was basically like the third-person shooter version of MechWarrior without the complicated controls and dual analog stick stuff. I like MechAssault. Just gotta get my Xbox up and running again. Has one of the early model faulty disk drive things. Not really pleasant. Ninja Gaiden. Ooh, I love Ninja Gaiden. It's on the list. Go read that. I've already said enough. Panzer Dragoon Orda. This is a hard game. Not sure if it's intentionally hard or it's just hard for the sake of being hard, but you know, it's a unique game, and honestly, it has a copy of the original Panzer Dragoon on it, so really there's no reason not to get it. And it's backwards compatible with the Xbox 360, so and it plays perfect. I mean, I tried on both, and it doesn't seem like there's any noticeable differences. Maybe a little lag here and there on cutscenes, but cutscenes are cutscenes. It is much worse. Alright, the unfinished game, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, Sith Lords. Haven't played it. I never owned it for the Xbox, but you know what? The guide's probably applicable to either one, so when I do play it, and since it's complete now, so to speak, I guess I can play it. I gotta finish the first one, too. Man, look at this backlog. Tao Feng, because, one of the creators of Mortal Kombat, Ed Boon, stayed with the company, and then, whatever the other guy's name was. I'm blanking on this. Yeah, he left the company and went in and made Team Gigante, and they made Tao Feng, which was strange. And then they made a horrible WrestleMania game, and they disappeared from the planet, so thank God for that. You know what? I really like the Tao Feng art style, but the game itself is just... Oh, Conquer, Live and Reloaded. Like, the only thing Rare made that anyone cared about. Grabbed by the Ghoulies was not very good. Conquer was a remake of a game that was already good, so it's hard to go wrong with that. And we're moving into Xbox 360 territory, because Mistwalker Studios, you know, Hironobu Sakaguchi, made some exclusive games for it. So we got Blue Dragon. These guys are really good, which is kind of a contrast to Prima in its later days. And we got Lost Odyssey, also really good. I don't think any of the games Mistwalker released are bad. And what's in this little slot? Oh, Ninja Gaiden 2. Not as good as the first one. Pretty unfair at points. I'd still recommend this version over Sigma, because Sigma is just... it just makes it really easy, which is contrary to the whole spirit of the thing, you know? It's kind of a masochist paradise. It's not supposed to be a walkthrough and just slam buttons. It's not Dynasty Wars. Viva Pinata! Yeah, I had a little obsession with this game. So what? Virtual Pinata Garden? I don't understand why I'm not allowed to have one. Anyway. Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Well, this is what happened to Nintendo. They basically said, instead of making our own guides, we're just gonna outsource them to Prima Games, which probably wasn't a great decision. And we've got one more guide by Prima. I think this is a Prima guide. Yep. This is for Warhammer Online, Age of Reckoning. It was never a great MMO, I'm sorry to say. I was really excited for it, and I played Blackwork up to rank 50... No, rank 40-ish? But the PvP was just so unbalanced. And that was, like, the point of the game. The point of the game is war. Warhammer, right? Like World of Warcraft. But Warhammer is like, we're going to be the PvP world. Wow, and it didn't end up that way. Bright Wizards were too powerful, Warrior Priests were unkillable, all that kind of thing. Well, and I guess I yanked that out. So, those are the Prima guides. And next part, we're going to cover these and those down there. Oh man, I have a lot of Brady Games guides. Alright, thanks for watching.